wrestling buddies want to be your buddy. What's going on?
Hey, buddy. Buddy!
You got me mad now.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to the Wrestling Compadres Slamcast right here on AfterBuzz TV. Johnny LaQuasta here with you in the studio, and we have a hell of a week because guess what? Payback is this Sunday, which makes this edition of the Wrestling Compadres Slamcast the...
Go home! That's your home! Are you too good for your home?
It's the Go Home Slamcast, y'all. All right, let's get into it. We got so many things to talk about. We got Alex Riley coming up on the show. He just had surgery. He just gave that cryptic promo on NXT that has everybody talking because it was very odd, and we're just going to talk to him about it. So hopefully he'll be willing to do that. All right, let's get into it here. At WrestlingBuds on Twitter, Facebook.com/WrestlingBuds, at Jay Quasto, Pittsburgh Improv. If you're listening to this on a Wednesday, it's tonight. Get your ass to Pittsburgh. If not, I'll be there the rest of the week. Let's get it to everyone. You may hear a bit of a cough over the phone line right now. That's because the compadre, the Walking Dale, the man who's best for business, he is now nestled in our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Please welcome back to the show with a triumphant return. He's Dale Rellis!
I got a puppet. What's up, dog?
Hold on, let the music play. I'm still playing your theme music, damn it!
I got excited. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Did you hear the music? Could you hear it?
I heard the very end.
Okay, good. Well, that's because you were yapping over it. What's up?
Hey, it's good to be back, brother.
How you feeling, brother?
Pretty good. I just secured my tickets for Payback, so I will be hopefully enjoying a good show this weekend.
You'll be in attendance. Well, there's only like 2 matches announced, so maybe you'll get to make one of your own.
I'm okay with that. If they need to get me on tap, I am available.
So how is the move? Pretty smooth and all that good stuff?
Oh man, moving sucks.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I've got some of my stuff, and my car's not here yet. Who knows where that is? There's some mover joyriding in a bright green Jeep all the way down the 95.
He's doing the Ferris Bueller with your Jeep all over the place.
So that'll be interesting once I get that back. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, DC's pretty rad. I'm a little worried about the summertime, and it's humid as a mother already. So we'll see how that works out. But otherwise, just doing my thing.
And you were telling me that you live so close to wherever the Nationals play, you could actually hear the baseball stadium roar.
Yeah. I can't hear it in my apartment, but if I step out right on the balcony, you can definitely hear them cheering when awesome stuff goes down. So I need to time it well for when I need some enthusiasm in my own life to just step out and hear a crowd go wild.
Well, you know why they went so crazy over the weekend? I know you're a huge sports fan. This guy, Bryce Harper, hit like 9 home runs in 3 games, including 1 walk-off home run. So people were going apeshit, and that's probably what you heard.
Yeah, see, I thought they just thought my breakfast that I made was really good, but yeah, apparently there was some other reason they were cheering.
We love your acai bowl, yeah!
Is that fresh squeezed? Oh my God!
Those bananas are organic!
So yeah, that'll be fun. I can't wait to go to a Walgreens game.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Well, hey, it's good to have you back, buddy. We have no Chuck Rice this week. He's a busy man. He's running around. He's a man about town, as you know, and he's running around today. So,
Is he dodging me? Is that what's going on? Is Chuck Rice dodging me?
Yeah, I see Rice 17. He'd be ducking you.
Man, I'm going to have a word with that dog.
That's right. But nonetheless, follow him at crice17. Tell him that you missed him on the show this week because he needs that ego boost. So give it to him. All right. The other man in studio, he is a friend of the show. You can find him on Twitter at NatBaymel or natbaymel.com. He's always doing the stand-up comedy all over the country. And you can just call him Nat Baymel. Where the hell is the damn soundbite?
Look at that map!
There you go.
There it is.
Look at that mass! Yes.
The Gary Stridham of podcasts.
You're the reason I got that soundbite. Tell the audience about that soundbite, this one, and this one.
Wow. So, as my gimmick, I suppose, is I'm an encyclopedic knowledge of
You're
pro
an
wrestling.
encyclopedic knowledge of ridiculousness.
So my favorite bit of ridiculousness is before the XFL, there was the WBF, which was the World Bodybuilding Federation.
Started by
Vince McMahon.
Yep.
And he decided we're going to compete with Olympia. We're not going to have testing. We're going to have the biggest, best bodybuilders around. So it was basically Vince McMahon's fetish without wrestling getting involved. Wow! And so the first champion was one Gary Stridham.
Yep.
And there's a very famous video. Look for it. Just type in Vince McMahon, Gary Stridham.
It's amazing.
And it's Vince doing his over-the-top wrestling announcing for a bodybuilding routine. The man comes out in a top hat.
A top hat and a cane.
And a cane with two ladies on either arm. And Vince's opening line is, wow, talk about going out for a night on the town.
Dale, keep in mind he's wearing a Speedo and nothing else and a top hat. And Vince McMahon goes, talk about a night on the town. That was amazing.
Yeah, which, by
That's
the way,
my 4th of July outfit I have planned, actually.
It's going to be humid, you did say.
yeah, that's how you survive. As a person who grew up in Florida, that is how you go with the humidity.
You have to.
Yeah, and
yeah.
you have to be classy, too. You don't want to just show up to, like, a black tie event in a Speedo. Throw a top hat on, night on the town.
Good God almighty. Well, welcome back to the show. Also, big news. What's funny is apparently we've been on there for a couple weeks. We just didn't know about it. Like, we tweeted and put a Facebook message up, and people are hitting us up like, hey, you've been back on Podcast One for weeks. We didn't know. So we're very, very excited that our show is back on Podcast One. We're even working on some 30-second promos that I think they said they were going to possibly air for us as well. So it's really good to be back. We had a lot of listeners that tuned in on Podcast One. So in case you're listening, welcome back to us, and thank you for coming back. And we're thrilled to be back. It's a great team between AfterBuzz and Podcast One, and we're just trying to grow this family. That's what we're trying to do.
Grow it on out. I like it.
Growing out that family. All right, let's get to, we have a lot of stuff to talk about before we call Alex Riley. First off, man, injuries galore. Speaking of Alex Riley.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan relinquishing the Intercontinental title. No timetable for a return. Dale, do you have any clue? I don't know what is injured.
I mean, the last that we had heard, I thought he had a concussion, but for him to say that he's not sure if he'll ever come back, it makes me feel like, is it like a resurgence of the old injury as well? Or I honestly don't know. I just my heart was broken last night. That's all I know for sure.
Yeah. Well, the fact that he said MRI, that tells me it's not, because for concussions or whatever, they would do a CT scan generally. So for MRI, that tells me it's something orthopedic in the body. So that maybe it is a flare-up of what was going on with the elbow or the shoulder. But it's weird because I don't think, do you know that? I haven't heard about what it is.
I mean, there's nothing official out. It's just a lot of hearsay. I mean, when he came back, the whole story was there was problems with his elbow, you know, just like he had pinched nerves in his neck, and it was sort of like affecting the nerves in his arm.
Oh, yeah.
And it was no strength back, no strength back, no strength back.
And he also had an ulnar nerve issue. And the ulnar nerve, if you're watching on YouTube, it runs right through this inner part of the elbow, and it supplies your two fingers down here, your pinky and your fourth finger. And if you get the numbness there, it affects your grip, it affects your feeling, it affects a lot of things. And he had that going on too.
Yeah, and so the diagnosis was they didn't know what was wrong with him. They didn't know what was wrong with him. And then all of a sudden he saw a different doctor who said, you're fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where you just want someone to say you're okay for so long that if 9 guys say you're not and then one says you are, you're just going to say, well, this guy's clearly in the right.
And doctors have been known to say that for certain reasons.
There's always that one dentist who won't recommend Trident gum. So
that's true.
I assume he just went with the guy who said yes. I mean, Bryan's a guy who he loves wrestling, you know. I remember I used to watch him in PWG every month.
Right.
And when word got out that he signed with WWE, that night he was at PWG, and it was the first place he made sort of an announcement to all of his indie fans. And he said, I love wrestling. I want to just be an indie wrestler for the rest of my career, but I have doctor's bills and other things, and I need to be able to pay them. So the whole reason he even went to WWE, like according to him, was because he needed the money, but he's a wrestler at heart. He loves wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, he wanted to wrestle, and so when everyone's telling him no, the one guy who said yes, that's good enough, Vince is probably like, we need a star, so come back as soon as you can. And it was nice to have him, but I mean, the entire 2-3 months he was back, you just cringe every time he would take any sort of a move, and
he did, yeah.
And he didn't slow down at all. He's taking these like suplexes on his head from Luke Harper and everything.
He had some brutal matches, Dale. When he came back, remember we talked about it on the show. Like, man, Daniel Bryan's going full tilt, like really quick after coming back.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. I mean, like Matt is saying, it's kind of like it's in his heart and it's in his blood, and he just wants to be there, and he doesn't want to stop. I mean, there was that instance on Raw maybe 2 years ago or a year and a half ago when they were trying to get him out of the ring. Something happened during the match. I can't remember exactly, but they told him, they threw up the X, and he was supposed to quit, and he just kept shoving the ref off, trying to get back in the ring.
It was that
he doesn't know quit. He doesn't have quit in his head.
Yeah, I remember that match. It was against Randy Orton at the time. It was like right before he won the WWE title, and it was supposed to be sort of like the biggest win of his career. He was trying to make Orton tap out in a no holds barred match, and he got a stinger, I think, off of I think it was a suicide dive or a top rope drop kick or something, and he just lost all feel in his arm. I remember he was supposed to do a skin the cat, and he did it with one arm. Yeah, and the ref kept trying to stop him, and he kept throwing him off.
Well, I still believe that he was hurt going into WrestleMania 30.
Well, yeah,
it's just that opportunity presents itself once in a lifetime for hardly anybody. And talk about a Cinderella story in the Cinderella ending. He wins 2 matches at WrestleMania. I do think he was legitimately hurt going into it, and he knew it. But at the same time, you got to take advantage of that chance. And I'm glad he did, and we're all glad he did, because we had memories for a lifetime. But I'm not surprised that he went out shortly there afterwards. And I'm also not surprised that unfortunately he's hurt again.
I mean, at this point... Oh, sorry, go on, Dale.
Go ahead, Dale.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, it's kind of like Sami Zayn on Raw last week to injure yourself on the entrance ramp, basically. And then you just have to buckle down and work through the match. And he put on a full, great match, but then now we know he's going to be out for a few months with... I think it was a rotary cuff situation. Or, do you guys know exactly?
Has that been confirmed? I thought that, he's got a TakeOver coming up.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. We'll find out tonight, right? Basically, yeah. But I had heard that it wasn't looking good.
Wow. See, I didn't know if that was part of the program or if he legitimately was injured. So you're hearing that it might be, because if it's a rotator cuff tear, there's a good chance he might need surgery, and that's not. He
did an interview recently. I forget with who, but he talked about how this injury could be the best thing or the worst thing. It depends on how things go. So I think it's a legitimate injury, and we may have a different situation with him and with Hideo also getting injured. I don't know what TakeOver is going to look like. We'll find out tonight.
Yeah, what did you hear about Hideo? All of a sudden he's injured as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I think his was a shoulder-related thing too. Is that right, Matt? Did you hear?
Yeah, he was I think a rotator cuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah, prognosis is 6 to 8 months.
Well, it all depends. Rotator cuff is tough. It depends on where the tear is. God, I never talked about so much physical therapy shit ever on one episode, but this is just the facts that are happening. If it's a labral tear, that could be 6 to 8 months. A labral tear is a lot more difficult to handle than a rotator cuff, so it might be a combination of both. But that's bad news.
That's their 2 main events for next week's special event or whatever they're calling it. That's the triple threat and the main event. So I don't know. They're gonna have to really retinker what that's gonna look like if both of these guys are out, and it's just horrible timing, especially for Sami Zayn.
Well, especially also the fact that NXT tapes well in advance. So they already have all of the episodes in the can up until the pay-per-view. So unless they have to scramble to retape anything, it's just going to be one of those. Okay, well here's the Hideo looking nice and healthy and fit, and then all of a sudden, oh by the way, he's not here. Sami Zayn's not here. So I don't know what's going to happen. Like last night after Raw, they kept pushing Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, the video package. So it's been a week, and I'd imagine if they were doing that, maybe they feel like Sami can do that match and then get any time off he needs. But I don't know. I'm guessing Sammy probably wasn't going to win that match just because he's spent so much time in NXT, and I feel like he's done everything he needed to do there.
Sure.
Finish the feud with Owens, make him the monster heel, keep Owens there a little bit longer. Sammy kind of had a great introduction to Raw that seemed like a good, debut. So lose to Owens, then just go on the main roster full time. But if he's injured, then I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, though. I mean, if everyone knows he's injured, you don't want to throw him out there at TakeOver. I understand it's all part of the storyline, but you don't want to. Number one, you don't want to risk injury, and number two, him going out there, it's so blatantly obvious what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah.
Owens is going to injure him, and he's going to put him out. So they're really in a tough situation. And you mentioned bad timing, Dale. It's never a good time to be hurt, but wow. I mean, this is really, really bad timing for this.
Yeah, I mean, this is the rebound match. It just took 2 months for it to culminate, but it just, man, I don't know. I just hope the best for Sami Zayn, and hopefully, we can see him on any roster coming up soon.
And actually, we could probably talk to Alex Riley about this in a little bit because he might know a little bit. And plus, I want to hear about his injury because, wow, talk about a 180 that he pulled this past week. Talking to the universe, it looked like from a cell phone.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cryptic, and it's going to be exciting to talk to him about it. And hopefully, he's in decent spirits by now. And then we could talk a little bit about NXT. But hey, the Elimination Chamber's coming back, y'all. Who the hell saw that coming? Because, Dale, when you talked to Stephanie McMahon a couple months ago, she said, yeah, the reason we got rid of it is because, actually, she broke it on this show, that new arenas can't handle the weight of the Elimination Chamber. And now, all of a sudden, it's back.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she did say there was the new arenas with the big screens that are in the middle. Now, I don't know Corpus Christi. I don't know anything about the arena that's there. It could be that it's an older arena, so it isn't an issue at that particular stadium. What I don't understand, though, is A, where the hell does this come from? And B, what? Like, it can't be a full pay-per-view, right? Are they just going to do a couple of matches? And how do you sell tickets to this if it's only 2 weeks away? Or, I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot of questions going on in my head with this particular thing. But, I mean, overall, I hope that this is how they're going to determine the new Intercontinental Champion is via Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Well, Nat has an interesting theory, and I'm not saying he's wrong here. So the Elimination Chamber will end on May 31st around 11 p.m. Eastern. And if people don't forget to cancel their subscription, their new subscribers, they will automatically be charged for the month of June. I love the idea. Nat's like, ooh, that's kind of shady. I love the idea. It's like, look, you're getting 2 pay-per-views for free. The least you can do is cough up $10. That's the way I look at it.
Yes, I completely agree. I mean, I'm obviously a subscriber. $10 a month just for NXT for me is enough. Like, I love it. I love being able to watch anything old from the past at my fingertips. It's great.
Sure.
But that's such a carny tactic of just hoping that people forget. It's so low rent.
But that's not necessarily the reason. That's just your theory that maybe that's why. Otherwise, I don't know why we're putting the Elimination Chamber. To me, that's a big thing. But maybe do you think it had to do with the fact that the Intercontinental Championship was being vacated? They decided that fast.
There's no other reason. I mean, because they already had live events scheduled for that day, and
right.
So to have to reshuffle that, to have to get Corpus Christi, to have to sell tickets, announcing it 2 weeks ahead of time, they're so beholden to the stockholders for the WWE Network number, especially after WrestleMania. If it was a good number for Mania, now all of a sudden it's post-Mania season, it's a lull, ratings for Raw are down. It's we have to do something to get subscribers up or at least maintain. Hey, we can kind of trick people into doing this.
Your beard is a little sideways.
Thank you, Gene.
Could be. So, Dale, what are your thoughts? I mean, I don't know. Really surprised when someone told me the Chamber was coming back, because I got to Raw a little bit late last night. I didn't believe. I was like, what are you talking about? The Chamber's not coming back. But yeah, May 31st, just 2 weeks after Payback.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense, but I mean, for me, it's only a benefit. And my thing is, I just don't know if it could be a complete card, because are they going to do a full-on pay-per-view? Or is it just going to be a couple of Elimination Chamber matches on top of a house show or something? I just don't really understand.
That's a good point.
What's happening.
According to WWE.com, they announced that there would be an Intercontinental title match in the Chamber. They announced John Cena would have an opponent that the world title would be defended. They basically announced there was going to be 2 Chamber matches, one for the IC title, and this is what really intrigues me, one for the tag team title.
Hold on a minute, player.
Wait, Wait a minute, really?
Yeah, so I'm wondering, are they going to do like what 3 teams with like one member of each in each pod? Or
what if there's 5 teams and each team is locked in a pod together?
That's what I want to see.
It's a little weird. What about imagine New Day being stuck in a pod, all 3 of them at once?
That's what I really want to see.
Time to get cozy.
I mean, I was hoping to see a Divas Elimination Chamber, but at this point, do they even have 6 Divas to throw in there? I mean,
no, sadly not. That's really depressing to think about.
Yeah, I mean, they do if they would start bringing some people up, for God's sake. But okay, so they announced IC title. That makes perfect sense. John Cena, if he gets past Rusev, is that what they mentioned, that John Cena would be defending the U.S. title?
They didn't necessarily say he would be defending the title, but they said, who will John Cena's opponent be? Because, they know that John Cena's a big star, so they're just saying, he'll be wrestling here, everybody. So you should watch if you're a little kid and you want to see your superhero.
Wow. I don't know what to think. I mean, we're always down for another pay-per-view. But, man, the Elimination Chamber, that was it was kind of a staple, right, Dale? I mean, as far as pay-per-views go.
Yeah, I mean, I always enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice lead-in to WrestleMania. I mean, it always put the stakes a little higher and made it seem like, well, I don't know, is that guy going to still have the title before Mania? I don't know. Good change. Just kind of shoehorn it in the middle of, I don't even know what it's Payback, and then what comes after Payback? I can't recall at the moment.
I thought Money in the Bank.
That's in July. June is another one, I believe.
Okay, well, Dale, keep talking. I'll look it up.
Keep talking, Dale. Fill that time.
And also, it couldn't be a busier time to have, Payback, and then you have TakeOver, and then you have Elimination Chamber. I mean, I love more wrestling the better, but it's hard to make them feel like special events when there's 3 special events 3 weeks in a row. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It seems so odd.
And honestly, I kind of like the idea of the Elimination Chamber being after WrestleMania, because it did feel kind of stale after a while, because you sort of knew what the matches were going to be after Royal Rumble, and then Elimination Chamber was just kind of there to fill a pay-per-view. And I did like the Elimination Chamber was sort of in the middle of the year, at the end of the year, and anything could happen. And especially with this, when the world title's not at stake, and if they do hold off on the IC title until this match, you have one of 6 guys who walk out with it. And anyone could do it, really. I mean, I think Neville in there.
I think you have to hold on to that title. You have to keep it in abeyance until May 31st, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm obviously going to root for Neville just because I like him. I think he could elevate the title. Last night on Raw, he had an amazing match with Cena and he had the clear win. So I think they're going to push him, which is actually very nice, because I was feeling a little doubt the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, Rusev coming down. That was really well done. Here we go. Money in the Bank, June 14th. Battleground, July 19th. SummerSlam, August 23rd. Night of Champions, September 20th. Hell in a Cell, October 25th. Survivor Series, followed by TLC. So yeah, Money in the Bank is in. So Money in the Bank is exactly 2 weeks after the Elimination Chamber. So you have arguably the 2 most dangerous matches that WWE has to offer just 2 weeks apart from each other.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you guys think it's going to be a full card then?
I mean, I don't know. I think it will, but also, you just brought up a good point. It's the 2 most dangerous matches, 2 weeks apart, at a time where they're played with injuries. So this could get interesting.
Yeah, we'll hope for the best. I mean, let's just hope everyone gets through Payback safe and sound, and let's hope that's a fun pay-per-view. I mean, we don't know all the matches yet. Either way, we're always looking forward to a pay-per-view. It's always going to be a good time. Let's get to one more thing before we call Alex Raleigh, and that is... Yeah, primetime players be killing it once again on Raw. I know you weren't the biggest fan of this promo. I don't care that they were paying homage to the New Age Outlaws. Bottom line is, I love when I see wrestlers doing things where I look at it and I'm like, you know what? I think that was them and not writers. It's so rare nowadays to see things on TV that are them and not the writers. You can tell that's primetime players just doing primetime players, and that's why I like it so much.
I mean, I liked them, and I think they're very funny. It's just that, they just did the Macho Man Dow and the Curtis Axel WrestleMania thing.
I'm not so sure about.
But then they did that right after that. So it's just like we're just living in the past tonight, apparently. And I mean, don't get me wrong, they're hilarious. And I like the fact that they're being themselves. And it's funny because they're not necessarily heels or faces. And I don't know exactly why they're not wrestling right now, but they're just coming on and roasting
themselves
people.
over.
They're doing a great job of it. I love just nicknames, just playing around, throwing out Mr. No Days Off and Mr. Big Deal Titus O'Neil. Just please, you're being yourself. This is what we need. We need people not this. We're all gonna keep watching Raw as much as we want to say I'm out, but the 20 minutes at the beginning of every show with the Authority State of the Union thing, and I love Seth as the conniving heel. He didn't deserve anything. He's just a petulant child, but just you can tell it's writers, and you can tell that it was written day of, and it's just very cliche and not realistic at all. And so when you see any form of realism at all, like Daniel Bryan, I was so sad to see him relinquish the title, but I was so happy to see him on the show.
Yeah.
Because he was being himself. No one wrote that for him. It was just him being earnest, and you can tell when someone's being genuine.
So Dale, what are your thoughts? Number one, primetime players. Obviously, last night I thought was hilarious, and I love the fact they haven't wrestled yet because they're getting themselves over every single week by being funny, by being entertaining. And then secondly, Macho Mandow, Axelmania. I want to love it. There's something about it that makes me cringe.
Yeah, well, primetime players, good on them. I hope they're one of the guys in the Elimination Chamber because they have been truly entertaining. I do think the timing inside of the show to have that bit so close to the Macho Man and Hulk segment was a little weird because, Matt saying, it did feel a little too callbacky. When you have 3 hours, why didn't you spread that out a little bit better? But regardless, they were great, and I look forward to their segment all the time. So more of it is fine. But yeah, this is exactly what I feared when we were talking about what's going to happen to Damien Sandow after, post Miz, and they are doing, unfortunately, exactly what I was afraid they would do, and he's just continuing to have the mimicking gimmick. Now, he does an awesome Macho Man. I mean, that's probably one of the better impressions that I've seen in a long time, and I mean, from the movements in the ring to the actual promo that he cut as well, it's a little, I guess it's okay to put them together because neither of them are doing anything too huge, so to have them on a pre-show pay-per-view match, I guess that's pretty good, but I just don't wear the legs in pretending to be Macho Man.
That's the thing is you kind of called it ahead of time. It's weird because Sandow came out a couple of weeks ago. He's like, I'm Damien Sandow. This is me. New music. Cool. He did the little mockery thing with Axel. That's fine. But now it's like he's gone back to complete impersonating, which maybe it's a short-term thing, but man, he can do so much more.
I will say this: I thought of a name for them, which made me happy enough to be like, "All right, go on."
Oh, hang on, let me get the applause ready.
Or booze, I don't know.
Okay, go for it.
I want to call them the Mega Powers.
USA! Love it.
But yeah, I mean, it felt like something you would see at a local indie promotion that has a lot of first-year guys who are just
that's what I mean. Jay Lethal was Black Machismo back when he was really young, and he was fan. I think he might be the best Macho Man impression I've seen.
Absolutely,
yeah. But.
And, I mean, Damien Sandow is better than this. Axel, he has been trying to find his footing from the moment he got in the company. But Damien Sandow couldn't have been more over with the crowd. And then last night the crowd was kind of like, okay, we like you. It just didn't really, I don't know. They could do something else with him that isn't this. It just feels like playing the lowest denominator, and he could do better.
Yeah, I feel like with Macho Man just getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, obviously he's fresh in everyone's mind, and he's a legend. Everyone loves him. And then you have, JBL was kind of burying Sandow on commentary as well. So it just, I don't know, something about it. Now, who knows? Sunday, I think they're going to be great together. It's going to be fun to watch. I just hope this doesn't. Sandow, man, Sandow to me is a lot like Daniel Bryan, and the fact that people want to get behind him because they know the long road he's had and they know how great he is. They know he deserves it. So to me, that's what I really hope happens down the road.
Well, the other thing with Sandow, though, versus Daniel Bryan, I mean, yeah, he was, the grassroots campaign of getting over and everything, but I love Sandow. I'm not trying to bring him down at all, but they never really give him much to do in the ring. He's either imitating someone else. They never really have him have good matches. That's sort of what always got Bryan over. No matter what they would do to sort of try to keep him down, if you give him 2 minutes, if you give him 20 minutes, he's gonna have the best match on the show. Yeah. And I wish they would just let Sandow sort of wrestle as himself, because him wrestling as the Miz, is you only do so much with that. Now he's doing a Macho Man impression. It's let him be himself a little bit. Right. I would love to see that. When he busted out his old elbow drop again a couple weeks ago, that was great to see. It was hey, we remember that from when he was the intellectual savior, which, by the way, that was a gimmick I loved.
We'll see. But hey, we have our special guest is actually on the line right now. We have so much to talk about with this guy. He's one of the best friends we've had on the show, and we're thrilled to have him. Find him on Twitter at Alex Riley WWE. He's had a very, very interesting last week, to say the least. And I'm looking on Twitter here. My man is benching less than 72 hours after surgery. My God, he's Alex Riley. How's it going, man?
Are we on the air right now?
You're damn right we are.
Because usually you guys give me a warm-up call, and we talk about what we're going to discuss a little bit here. Now you caught me off guard. I'm a little nervous now.
What are you nervous about?
Come off the surgery, and now I'm a little caught off guard. So bear with me now. I got to get my bearings.
That's okay. I mean, I see you repping 225 here on Twitter already. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, it has been an interesting week. First of all, thank you guys again for having me on. I always love coming on and catching up with you guys. I hope everybody's well. Yes, no?
Oh, everything's good. Dale actually, he moved to Washington, D.C., so he's on the line as well.
Oh, cool. Good deal. Yeah, well, no, it was an interesting week for sure. I got to see Dr. Andrews. Had my knee operated on, I think now for the second time with Dr. Andrews. But it went well, man. It was a good surgery. It was just a scope, so nothing too serious. I had been carrying it around with me for about 4 months, and as you guys know, I had gotten that opportunity to get back in the ring. So I just kind of wanted to keep it, not hush-hush, but I just wanted to really do the best I could with that opportunity, and then reevaluate the knee from there. And it wasn't. I was concerned at one point it was going to be like an ACL or an MCL, but it didn't end up turning out that way. Just a little piece of cartilage that was floating around in there, and I got it cleaned up by one of the best in the world. So I'm in good shape, okay. And I'm benching already. Good.
See, that was our concern when you mentioned you were going in for surgery. We saw the pictures. I'm thinking, oh no, I'm thinking it's ACL. I'm thinking it's meniscus, but really it's a scope to where you're already walking around, and within a month you'll probably be feeling pretty good, I would think.
Yeah, and they did actually it was great because, the Andrews Institute is very cutting edge, and he actually had an idea to pull some stem cells out of my iliac crest, I believe is how you pronounce it, but he pulled some stem cells out of there and actually injected them into the knee before he closed me up, hoping that it might regrow some of the cartilage that was missing, that had been missing for years. It kind of always, the knee would always ache, but it was something that I could always get through. But he kind of sold me on an idea that I might have a brand new knee here, in a couple months, and I was pretty thrilled with that. So yeah, I mean, 4 or 5 weeks, and especially at the point in my career that I'm at, I feel very blessed and lucky that it was just a scope.
Yeah, and that's a brilliant idea, really, because the iliac crest, you don't really, there's not a lot you can do with that. So if you can get the stem cells in there, it can't hurt. It can only help the healing process and hopefully rebuild the cartilage. So wow, that's why everyone goes to him, I guess.
Yeah, the frustrating part is that he wants me in crutches for, I was planning on being on 2 feet in a couple of weeks. Like you said, scope, no big deal. But because of the stem cells, he wants me on crutches for 4 weeks. Ooh. And I called him the other day. I was like, Doc, I feel great. Like I need to get back in there. And he goes, no, you cannot do anything until those stem cells get to settle in. So that's the one frustrating part. But again, 4 weeks off my feet and then back to 100%. I'll take it.
So you're admitting you are currently abiding by doctor's orders, and you are.
I don't know if the bench press was totally abiding by his orders. I did crutch my way to the gym.
Yeah.
But other than that, yes, I am 100%.
All right, good deal. Now, obviously, it's good to have you, healing, and within a month, hopefully, you'll be back to at least close to getting back to action. But we have to talk about NXT this past week. That really it threw a lot of people for a loop, and I found it really interesting. I personally loved what you said because we weren't in the arena, so we really didn't hear what the fans were saying. But if the fans were chanting "Thank you, Owens," I'd be livid. I'd be pissed off. I'm glad that you were real about it. Talk to us about that. What was your?
Yeah, well, they came to me and they said, well, you got an opportunity here. You're going to be out for a while, like just to kind of, address what happened and, just the reaction. Because I always thought that that was the most important thing when I went out to perform in the WWE was to get a reaction from the crowd. When I had this opportunity to get back in the ring, they were so there with me. And even, God, it must have been 50 of them, 100 of them waited until about midnight when we got out of the show at Full Sail University, and they just were standing out there. As soon as I walked out of the arena, they were just clapping, and they were just, we're so happy for you, and it was so genuine, and it just made me feel so good. That stuff, as a WWE superstar, is really, at the end of the day, the biggest reward you can get. So when I heard that, it was, it just made me think, man, to be, as honest as I can be, is there something that I'm not doing? Is there something? It wasn't, in the arena, there's, if there's 1,000, 2,000 people there, you got 1,500 people chanting for Alex Riley, but there's a small group of people, that were saying thank you, Owens, thank you, Kevin, and all that. And to me, if there is that, even that small percentage of people that are going to feel that way after me returning to the ring, and really what I felt like I put a lot of who I am in this, and really my heart and soul, everything really into the WWE. If there's a small portion of people that are going to react that way, I have to reevaluate some things. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know what, when I'm going to return, when I'm not going to return, but I will be back, obviously. I just need to maybe approach things a little bit differently. I don't know, because there is a very, very strong, appreciation for what I do, and so it was a tiny bit confusing, and a tad frustrating.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah.
The thing I really loved about that, though, was you addressed it. I mean, a lot of times, they try to sort of ignore it or hope it'll go away, or like even 20 years later.
Mind blown, some kind of weird Inception thing. So so obviously when you get back to NXT, like I said, you have a lot of time to evaluate things, but let's, with TakeOver coming up, obviously Kevin Owens, you guys don't even have to mention the rivalry you guys have, but now it appears that everyone's dropping, everyone's getting hurt. It looks like Hideo's hurt, Sami Zayn is hurt. I mean, NXT itself is really facing some adversity as well.
I think it was going to be spectacular. It was going to look great. And I said, well, can I, is this doable? And they were like, yeah, if you want to do it, So it's like, it really is up to you. If you want to go out there and put your health on the line and put a show on like that, then you have, full range and full ability to do it. You just have to know the consequences. And I think that's,
Yeah, I'm officially in your old stomping ground.
Are you on M Street? It's too early for M Street, Dale. M Street happens at like 10 to 2 a.m. Man.
Ooh, I know what that means.
It's never too early for M Street.
Wait, they got a red light district in D.C.? Okay.
Not quite.
All right.
Yeah, we got Payback here. I mean, it's Baltimore, but I mean that's right up the street. I'll be heading up there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that should be a great one, huh?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Randy's kicking ass lately, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, yeah. I think they can do no wrong with Randy Orton.
Yeah, he really, and he, even now he's kind of coming to the ring, and he's you can tell he's a little different. It's just he's always. It's funny with him. He's always trying to grow, even though he is going to go down as one of the greatest ever. It's not the greatest ever. He's always kind of tweaking this and changing that and growing and evolving. It's really cool.
I feel like this is the most fun he's been having visually in quite some time.
I was just going to try to get there somehow, but yeah, I completely agree with you. I think he's really loose. He's he's playing with the crowd, and that was never really his thing before. And it does. It seems like he's really enjoying himself out there, and I think that's so cool to see, because when you watch it back home, when you see a guy that's kind of naturally is doing that, you automatically just smile and enjoy it yourself.
And I think the same goes for Rollins. He is embracing this smarmy, just dude that you want to see get his ass kicked, and he's almost toned up his voice is even a higher octave to make it more annoying, I think.
Yeah, and he, that's a tough spot to be. I mean, he's WWE champion, obviously, but once that show starts, it's pretty much a Seth Rollins show.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. I mean, he's in there 30-minute matches. He's talking. He's this and that. So I think he's done a hell of a job. The ways he's going about doing it, obviously a little questionable, but he's kicking ass as well.
Yeah. Well, speaking of kicking ass, we know it's only a matter of time until you get back and you're doing that. So we obviously heard from you in NXT this past week, but you said you're not going to hear from me for a while because that's what the people want. Is there anything else? Is there anything you'd like to say as you go into your recovery? I imagine we're not going to see you for a little bit.
Before that, there was a backstage with Regal and Sammy, and I did say there that if Sami Zayn doesn't make it to TakeOver, I get Kevin Owens. And I believe that was agreed upon. So, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of spots have been opening up. Honestly, it's 2 weeks away. I mean, there's no more damage I could do to my knee by wrestling. If I could get cleared, which I can't, I would be there, and I would fight El Kevo. But like you said, and what I was talking about when I sent that video in last week, I do. Good deal. Yeah. Well, I agree. What's that?
I was going to say, when you are ready for your return, you should just tweet out free Kevin Owens t-shirts at a given address, and then you can just go and clothesline everybody.
That might happen live on NXT programming. There was a point where I was like, can we just line these guys up in the ring and we can do a real improv question and answer and see what we get? Because I was genuinely interested about the state of mind somebody has to be in to say thank you, Kevin, and B, to cheer for him too. It just blows my mind, but we'll address that, I guess, at a later date.
You're right.
The thing with Kevin Owens, though, is I almost see him as the wrestling equivalent of Walter White from Breaking Bad. His whole thing is I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my family, and he's a monster. He's clearly a monster. But if you know people who watch Breaking Bad, you had people at the end of that series saying no, Walter White was correct in what he did. It's no, you're wrong.
And don't use your family to get sympathy. Come on, Jeff. We're all adults here. We don't know what you're doing. And the thing too is and not to brag or boast, because I really don't, and I hate people to do that. But I've been here for 8 years. Talk about being a high school state champion or getting a B in my algebra test, because it doesn't matter. So I just it is. It's very confusing to me, and that's kind of why I wanted to send that thing out, and
good.
We'll see where it goes from here.
Take that, Kevin Owens, you meth dealer. That's what you meant, Nat, right?
Absolutely. He probably got a D in his algebra test.
Well, Alex Riley, it's always a pleasure. Hey, if you want to call us any
that might actually be happening, but I don't know what it has to do with your show. We discussed it in front.
We'll have a shower for you. I don't know. Wow, I can't.
All right, fellas. Thank you very much.
You got it, man. Talk soon.
Okay, bye.
I really want to see.
That was awesome. I thought he said father.
I did too. I want to see a gimmick match now, mixed tag.
With what?
Alex Riley and his baby versus Kevin Owens and his baby.
Oh my God, that would be really funny.
Or babies on a pole match or something.
He has to have a baby first, but not a bad idea. Man, I know Dale, you got hung up on for a part of the call, but Alex Riley's just gold every time, man. He keeps it real. He speaks his mind, and hey, we can't ask for any more than that.
Yeah, it makes you realize how rare that is inside the biz too. Just somebody to like shoot straight. Like, I mean, it was good to hear that was something that he was truly feeling, and they were down with it and let him air it. Like, that's so dope. Like, I wish there was more people that were willing to do that.
Well, that's the beautiful part about NXT is there's a lot less micromanaging, I think, and you have great people behind the scenes. You have our friend Ryan Katz, who's so creative and so amazing at putting stuff together, and I know he has a big say in what's going on along with other people, and I love the fact they aired that. It was great.
Oh yeah, and if you saw the E60 documentary on NXT,
man, that was just really tug at the heartstrings, didn't it?
Oh my god, like Alex Riley, I've only ever seen him from TV. Those the first time I got to speak to him. What a treat! Thank you for having me here.
Of course.
To hear him say, "I want to hear people who dislike me," I don't know how rare that is, but it feels like it might be, because like it feels like Vince is the type of guy who doesn't like criticism and sort of like goes against the grain on it. But like I like the fact that Alex Riley hears people booing him and doesn't say like, "Oh, screw those guys, they don't know what they're talking about." He says, "I want to know why they feel this way."
And you're right, it is kind of rare. I mean, I know that's how we are with our show. Like, yeah, it's great to hear positive things, but when someone doesn't like it, or someone doesn't like something we say, Dale and I are always down to hear it. We're always going to have a retort. But
I might start having things to complain about Alex Riley just so he'll take me out for a beer.
That's right. On N Street, whatever that is. But yeah, that was a really great phone call, and speedy recovery. Glad it was only a scope, so that's good news. We got so much stuff to talk about, and not a lot of time. So before we get to a Payback preview, let's get to everything else. NXT, we had a contract signing. Becky Lynch, man, she has really been on fire lately. She got the upper hand on Sasha Banks. Of course, we already talked about A-Rai's promo and the surgery and everything. Blake and Murphy attacking Enzo and Cass backstage. That's heating up real nice.
I love it. I really do.
I'll be honest, when Blake and Murphy got the titles, I was like, what the hell is happening here? But they've become really credible dickheads. They've done a pretty good job of it.
Credible dick. That would be a great team name for them.
Right? Dale, people keep asking us for t-shirts. Should we put Credible Dickhead on the t-shirt?
CDH.
Credible Dickhead is a great t-shirt.
Oh, man. We just came up with something.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you guys think? Blake and Murphy, Enzo and Cass, everyone loves them. I'd like to think it's only a matter of time till they're up on the main roster.
Honestly, this feud is what has gotten me behind Blake and Murphy, because I didn't understand. Kind of like you, I was like, what the hell? This team, what are they, brothers? I don't understand what's going on with these guys. But turning them, more heelish tactics and taking on one of, arguably the fan favorite guys down in NXT. I mean, this is actually getting some good heat behind them, and I mean, ultimately, I hope that Enzo and they leave with the title, but maybe they hang on to it and make this last a little longer, because it is definitely getting interesting.
Well, that's the thing. Enzo and Cass have yet to hold the tag team titles, and if you're looking at NXT, they're clearly the longest tag team, the running tag team in the whole company right now.
They are. Wow.
I mean, what other tag teams have been there longer? They've been together virtually since forever. I don't know how long, but longer than every other tag team there.
Even the Vaudevillains teamed up after them,
and they've disappeared.
Where are the Vaudevillains?
I don't know.
That is the one sad thing about NXT is they only have enough screen time to focus on the feuds that are coming up. I do imagine my prediction is, and this is just me hoping, that Enzo and Cass win, and from there they will probably do a rematch or two with Blake and Murphy, and then they need someone new, and then re-enter the Vaudevillains, which, by the way, I can't wait. That sounds like a feud I will just have a ball with.
Enzo and Cass versus Vaudevillains, that would make me want them to stay in NXT for a little bit longer, because that would be great.
Which I think they should, just because I think Enzo's only been wrestling and training for 3 years or less.
What?
Yeah, I know. So I figure give them a little bit of time just to sort of iron out some of the rough edges. I mean, their charisma is already there. They're good, and it's just a matter of make sure that when they do get up to the main roster, they can back it up in the ring, and they're gonna be golden. Mm-hmm. And no, I
think Cass is good interacting with Enzo. I mean, a lot of the charisma hinges on Enzo, and then Cass can play off of him well. So I think if they do move them up or whatever, I hope they keep them together just so he can keep learning and keep figuring out his own character.
Oh yeah, and their dynamic together is it's unique.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Because Cass, his whole thing is he's 7 feet tall. You can't teach that. He should be a killer on the roster. He should be going for the world title. But it seems like the gimmick is almost he doesn't have like the belief in himself. Because when Enzo was out for a while, Cass was just kind of like feuding with the Legionnaires. He wasn't really going to anywhere. Then when Enzo comes back, all of a sudden I got my buddy with me, I'm happy. And Enzo's thing is like he can't do anything in the ring. He's like a little scrappy dog. He can't beat anybody up.
Right.
But with Cass behind him, he's like, oh, I got my boy. And so he sort of instills that confidence in Cass. So they sort of rely on each other, which is why they're such a great tag team.
Yeah, and there's got to be something going. I don't think they're going to necessarily take the titles off Blake and Murphy this time around. Then again, NXT's so up in the air right now as we go to the main event. Hideo versus Breeze versus Balor. Hideo goes over, but now he's injured, so it may end up just being Tyler Breeze versus Finn Balor now.
Or maybe if Sammy's out, maybe they'll just make that a three-way for the title.
Jesus. Oh, yeah, what do you think about that, Dale? Maybe adding Balor and Breeze to Kevin Owens in a triple main event, maybe?
I mean, it would make sense. It just depends, again, how much. Then you have an open slot on the card that you would need to fill with something, and what would that be? I did see Jimmy Yang Wang was at Raw, and apparently was supposed to go out, but didn't happen, and he sent out a tweet that said, oh, well, maybe you'll see me next time, but he spelled next NXT, so I don't know, is Jimmy Yang joining the roster of NXT?
What was he supposed to do on Raw?
He tweeted out in the morning that you'll see me at Raw tonight, and he was dressed in his old cowboy gimmick, and so everyone was just like, oh, I guess we're gonna see Jimmy Wang Yang tonight, and then he never showed up, and he's like, well, I got stuck in traffic, maybe you'll see me NXT time.
Yeah. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. So in my moving and whatnot, I missed a couple of episodes. Finn Balor was already the #1 contender. What happened?
He had his match with Owens and lost, and it was a great match. It was actually probably like a month or two ago, but the thing that I'm really depressed about is with this triple threat, it would have been great, and my prediction was that was going to be when Hideo debuted the GTS on an actual event that was televised, because they showed the clips of it when his documentary special, but I feel like he probably would have won, and it would have been with the GTS, and then the next feud would have been him versus Owens, which, oh my god, please, but
sure,
injury, man, sucks.
We'll see what happens there, and we are going to have Ryan. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say my only thing is that the rumor is that Finn Balor is supposed to move up, in the next few months of time. So would they even put the title on him anyways? And I kind of see Kevin Owens hanging on to this thing for a while.
Yeah, Finn Balor's the kind of guy, he doesn't need the NXT championship at all. I mean, no, not that Owens does either, but he's better suited to hold the title, whereas Balor, he's like Neville in a way. You call him up, and that's immediate just fandom. People are going to go crazy.
And also, Balor signed a very specific deal. He's being paid more than anyone in NXT, and also, in his contract, it said he's only going to be there for a little bit of time.
Well, yeah, because Balor wouldn't have signed. He had enough pull to where it's yeah, I'm not coming here unless you kind of hook me up.
And also, I mean, he's going to be hugely over just on his Raw matches, because I mean his entrance is really cool, and when his first pay-per-view when he comes out, oh my god,
I want it to be a good feud.
My prediction is because they keep saying who's going to be the next guy. I honestly think if they don't screw him up, he could be the next guy, because he has it all. He's got he can go in the ring better than almost anybody. He's got the good look that ladies will go crazy for. He's got that supernatural element like the Undertaker has. He can talk. He's charismatic. And he's got it all. He should be the guy.
I'd like to see him debut on a pay-per-view, actually, to where someone does some kind of an open challenge and he comes out as that demon. Oh man, you kidding me?
Yeah, do it at something event-sized like a SummerSlam or something that's big and has a lot of eyes on it and just gets, it could harken back to the old days when Taz debuted at a pay-per-view, or something that it's been a while since we've had a really big splash like that, and I think he could be the guy to do it.
SummerSlam, yeah. I like your thinking there. You want to debut? You do it at SummerSlam. Damn. I like that a lot. I know, right? So we're going to have Rhino take it on Baron Corbin. I imagine this is the beginning of Rhino really helping the younger guys along. That's what you would think. And I'm really looking forward to Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. Becky Lynch, I like the fact that they're showing her history, because, she's a tough chick. We were talking to Nigel about her. Nigel's like, oh, yeah, mate. He's like, I know her from back over in England and all this. She's been at it for a long time. It's not like she was just a girl that got signed to NXT. No, she was doing it for a long time, and so it's really cool to see her get recognition.
And also just a woman submission expert is so cool.
Yeah, man.
Just the way she...
We don't need to hear about your fantasies, Matt.
One day, man.
Love that. I mean, she's another one that I don't think she needs the title. I think she can go to the main roster almost immediately and create a big stir. Because you said submission special. She's already got something. She's got an aggression about her. I think you could send her up tomorrow, and you could have a storyline around her.
Well, almost any of them you could. And honestly, I don't think she needs the title, and I think ultimately it should be Bayley who takes the title from Sasha, just because there's so much history between those two.
That'd be cool.
And I'm just so excited. Like, the women's matches they always knock it completely out of the park, and I'm guessing that's probably going to be match of the night.
It's going to be fun to watch, and it wouldn't surprise me that's a match of the night. You're absolutely correct. Before we move in, we're going to do Payback preview, but we got to talk about Impact, got to talk about Lucha Underground, which is Nat's favorite show on television. Impact Wrestling was live, baby, from Florida this past week, and I'll tell you what, Impact has its detractors. We know behind the scenes, Dixie's a train wreck. We all know that. But when it comes down to it, that was a great 2-hour television show. The matches were fantastic. Everyone on that roster just bust their ass to put out a great product, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, unfortunately, Jeff Hardy, like Matt Hardy comes out and he's like, look, Jeff lives his life 24/7. He's a maniac. He hurt his leg. He broke his leg riding his dirt bike. Hardy's had to vacate the titles. That's the second tag team in a row. The Wolves had to do it because of injury. So boom, out comes the Dirty Heels. Austin Aries, Bobby Roode. Out comes the Wolves. Well, guess what? The heel is healed. So now we're going to have the Wolves and Dirty Heels in a best-of-5 series, which who would not be on board with that?
This is my first time hearing their team name. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
Well, you know, Aries is a great story. The reason why they're the Dirty Heels is because they were doing shows in overseas a couple of years ago, and a bunch of them were shopping. Him and Rude were like walking around a mall, and Aries saw these cut-off T-shirts at some H&M type store.
Yeah.
That just said dirty. Yeah, that just said Dirty Heels, right? So they bought them as a joke, and without telling anyone, they just wore them to the ring one night for a TV taping, and it got over. And now that they're a team again, they actually had a moniker come up saying Dirty Heels when they came out, and they combined Aries and Rude's music together.
Sweet.
And so it's going to be a best-of-5 between them and the Wolves. I mean, that's great stuff.
Dirty Heels and the Credible Dickheads, just a great stable.
Oh! Ain't nothing wrong.
Everyone wins in that combo. Everyone wins.
And that's just one part of the show. You had EC3 defeating our friend Ken Anderson in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Just amazing spots. At one point, Anderson did a rollover on EC3 and a whole bunch of chairs, but Tyrus ends up getting involved. EC3 goes over, still undefeated. I forget how long he's been undefeated now.
It's like a year and a half or something.
It's like Joe when he was first debuting in TNA. It's almost like he might even surpass Joe in terms of how long he was undefeated.
I think they mentioned 560 days. I don't know if I'm correct on that, but it's been a while.
More than a year and a half.
How is he not challenging for the main belt? Yeah, that's the weird.
It's going to happen.
So I actually have a spoiler. If anybody
lots of tapings. Don't.
Okay. So things are happening. So don't worry.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time. That's for sure. Okay. Drew Galloway defeating MVP. EY then attacks with a chair, ends up helping the BDC. In other words, he wants a favor down the road. I love what they're doing with the knockouts. So when the Dollhouse showed up for the first time, I was like, what's going on? Well, they've joined forces with Taryn Terrell. Now the three of them are the Dollhouse. They're this evil trio. It's Mia Yim is one of them, and Marty Bell's the other one. They defeated Gail, Kim, and Kong in kind of a handicap match 3-on-2. But then Kong hits a few finishers afterwards. So I love it. The heels win. They escape, but a couple of them get destroyed. But Taryn Terrell, the champion, she gets to slide away. And I really love the story they're telling. And it's great to have Taryn Terrell. It's almost like a Seth Rollins thing to where she has protection now to keep her from losing that title. And I like the way she's doing it. So there's that.
I love it. I love seeing this side of her too. I mean, something that we honestly haven't gotten to see anywhere from her back to ECW or WWE or any of that time. She was never really this character.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see her get to show this side because she's really excelling at it. I kind of prefer it even.
I didn't see it coming. I didn't know. I thought she was maybe kind of a one-sided, just hey, I'm gonna smile because I'm drop dead gorgeous. But no, she's turned this into a really kind of a sadistic, creepy vibe with the other chicks in the Dollhouse, which is really cool. And speaking of knockouts, the return of Velvet Sky. If you haven't seen it, just watch it. It was so well done. So Angelina comes out running her mouth. Velvet Sky comes out from the audience, doesn't say a word, stays completely stone-faced. She's dressed in like kind of like biker gear in like a vest, like not what you're used to seeing. Angelina kind of makes fun of her, and then she finally gets annoyed. She's like, why don't you say something? Velvet spears her and attacks her, beats the hell out of her, and then as she gets up, stone-faced once again, and just leaves stone-faced, no emotion whatsoever. Did you see that, Dale? It was just amazing. I thought, what a great return, and what a way to just kind of change character in a matter of minutes.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see the knockouts get this kind of attention too. I mean, they had an awesome match, like you were saying, with the Dollhouse and Kong, but it's great to have another segment on the show that also had like weight to it. I mean, both of these things really mattered and continued and started storylines that are really intriguing and keeps us interested. So I'm really happy for both these storylines.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and of course, when Velvet Sky got fired because of the Feast or Fired briefcase, Angelina Love kind of just poked fun. And you couldn't have asked for a better return. The way she did it was perfectly executed, so kudos to that. Now we have a hell of a feud. That's the kind of feud that you rarely see with female wrestlers because they're not given that kind of history. Well, also
and it makes sense. It's nice to see it be something that is a storyline from, what was that, a couple months ago with Feast or Fired? So it's nice that it's something that is coming back around and paying off for like, hey, you've been watching. Here's a little nugget for you. I like that.
And not just that, they've been the beautiful people together for years, and so there's a lot of build up there.
Well, even more than that, how about the fact that, hey, look, we have more than one woman storyline going on at a time in TNA.
Isn't it great? I love it.
Like as much as they're like, oh, give Divas a chance, TNA has always like been good about like having multiple things going on with their women. And I mean, even back in the day, I'm so happy to see Awesome Kong back. Mm-hmm. I remember like her versus Dale Kim main eventing Impact like 10 years ago almost.
And she hasn't said a word yet.
Perfect.
Which is really cool, because just go as long as you can without her saying a word, to where like the fans are so behind her now. It's really, because everyone loves Gail Kim, so them together fighting for a common cause, it's a beautiful thing. Then in the main event, Angle defeated Eric Young with Bully Ray as a guest referee, ankle lock for the win. A lot of crazy stuff happened in this match, and we say it every week. They don't call him the Cyborg for nothing, man. Kurt Angle, he took a pile driver from Eric Young. You talk about cringing. Anytime Kurt Angle takes a pile driver, you're just like, don't do that, Kurt. What are you doing?
Seriously, though.
But EY pulled it off. But yeah, what an amazing match. EY can do it all, man.
And Bully Ray, just so you guys know, this was just kind of a one-off, kind of like the Royal Rumble. He just came back. They asked him to do it, and he did it, and that's kind of it. So he gave an interview recently that said he kind of enjoys this kind of freedom. It's the first time he's ever been on his schedule rather than on a company's schedule. So I don't think we're necessarily going to see him back right away or in a major role or anything. It just seems like this is something that he got to do and was into it, and so he did it.
I'm fine with that. It was well done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he called it down the middle even after EY gave him a low blow. You know, he didn't attack EY. He still called it right down the middle, and Angle ended up winning. And so, you know, what a talk about fighting champions. Kurt Angle, he's the face of that television show, and he's the spirit of it, and he's the Watchman, and it's great to see. Really fun. Moving on, Lucha Underground. Nat, I know you got plenty to say. Dale, we've been to a couple of tapings. We love everything about Lucha Underground. Hernandez attacking Prince Puma in a tag match versus Cuerno and Cage. Cage ends up getting the pinfall. And we have the debut of Delavar Davari drinking some whatever the hell it is. Whiskey, I don't know.
Okay, this whole thing I want to talk about. So, Lucha Underground is my favorite show on TV. Not even just wrestling show. This is I look forward to Wednesday so much. Wow! Exactly. I mean, first of all, Dario Cueto in his office dealing with Daivari. Just the look he gave him, when Daivari's just on his phone.
Hold on.
Yeah, if you can get a screen cap of it, put on a website, it's the greatest thing you've ever seen. It's just the I am unamused and I hate you face.
I'm just a bit upset.
And so the match, I saw some people complaining that it was it wasn't even a match, they just brawled and then it ended. There was so much, they know their history. They know everything. There's also repercussions and consequences to the actions. So Melissa, she's, doing the announcements. She sees Tejano make a beeline to the ring. Mind you, she was attacked by Pentagon Jr., who tried snapping her arm. So all of a sudden, she has it in her head. This job is more dangerous than I thought it was. She sees him sprint into the ring. Off camera, you just hear her go, go, oh shit.
Yeah, I loved it.
And then she's gone by the time it comes back.
I think Melissa Santos does a great job of, like, a lot of people say, like, oh, you know, announcers, a lot of announcers and interviewers, especially female, they don't know how to keep it real. I think Melissa does a great job of playing it real. I really think and for someone who never worked in wrestling, at least I don't think she did, she really she plays it very, very real. And Tejano runs out there. I love the fact they left the oh shit in. That was great.
There's at least one oh shit per week. I mean, usually Vampiro takes it.
Hey, well, he has a right to.
Yeah, so that whole storyline, like with the Sexy Star and the Pentagon Jr., was so well done. Mm-hmm. And also, like, let's just talk about the fact that this is just Mortal Kombat with wrestling. We have, like, a guy we had a guy turn into a dragon. We literally had a guy turn into a dragon off screen, and Dario Cueto just like treated it like, yeah, the guy's a dragon, whatever. We had at the end of
not to mention the end segment, which we'll get to.
Yeah, well, I'll get to that too. But this is such a weird, wonderful place where there's like aliens and dragons and like undead Mortal Kombat people who sacrifice arms to like some unseen master.
Finish him.
We have like, you know, Angel
Mil Morte and you had Angelico do a stage fatality like a couple weeks ago when he jumped off the damn roof, basically.
He is just, man. What I like about Angelico is he knows he's a good-looking son of a bitch who could do things in the ring that nobody else can do, and he's just like happy-go-lucky about it, which who wouldn't be? Life's good when you're that dude.
Yeah, man. I mean, just like he's got the Justin Bieber haircut that after he'll do like a good move, he'll just like readjust his hair, make sure nothing's out of place. And also the trios titles. I'm just gushing right now. I'm not even saying anything. I'm just gushing. Everything is wonderful.
Oh, we rave about Angelico, Ivelisse, and
Son of
I almost said Matt Cross, but Son of Havoc. We rave about them. I mean, Ivelisse has really shown to be one of the best women in the business, thanks to Lucha Underground.
When she finished that match too, I mean, she broke her leg pretty early in that match, and then they called in a whole nother match basically, and she stuck it out. And they weren't even pulling punches with her. I mean, they kept attacking her. It's not like she cowered in the corner the whole time. Like they kept fucking with her, and it was amazing to see, because when we interviewed her, she had the broken leg. Like we know what officially happened. So to see that match from a couple weeks ago, even not to go back to it again, but just to know the wherewithal that you have to continue on through a whole nother match with a broken leg. That just blew my mind.
She's amazing, and she even mentioned, most of my career I've been wrestling dudes. You don't have that kind of career by backing down, and so she knows this is what a big opportunity Lucha Underground is, and what it has been for people, and she's not going to let a broken foot stop her, you know. And how about the end segment with a coffin? Rise again as Mil Muertes. I don't quite understand because go ahead, Nat.
Okay, so let's not forget the Johnny Mundo versus Alberto El Patron match.
Well, right. Of course, I was going to end with that. But
okay. So Mil Muertes, which is another thing I love, that all of these people have origin stories, like superheroes.
Sure.
So Mil Muertes, his story, is, if I'm understanding correctly, is he was a child living in a town in Mexico.
A lot of bad things happened.
And an earthquake happened, and it killed 1,000 people, including his family. And he was a child who was sucked into the earth. But he just so happened to find this mystical rock that resurrected him as the mystical spirit Mil Muertes, the man of 1,000 deaths. Every time he dies, he just becomes stronger.
Right.
And so, you know, his valet Katrina was sort of like the keeper of the mystical rock. Mm-hmm. And then she sort of turned on him and joined Phoenix, the man of 1,000 lives.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking like, well, why would she turn on him? And then why is she sort of bringing him back? And it kind of all makes sense
now
because Mil Muertes, you know, like he lost in Aztec warfare. He was losing a couple matches here and there. He was losing power. So she reached out to Phoenix, the one man who could defeat him, and beat him in the greatest casted match I've ever seen.
Oh my God.
Far and away. And so now that he's dead, she brings him back.
He's going to be stronger. So she was planning, it was her plan the whole time. It's really so much deeper. You could just watch it and be like, oh, that's kind of cool. But it really is, it's deeper than that, you know?
There's so much subtext, and like you can actually like dig into it, whereas like so much wrestling is just such very surface level, because a lot of wrestlers and promoters especially assume that fans are dumb, and so they just try to keep it very simple. Whereas here, Robert Rodriguez has created something where he's like not insulting anyone's intelligence, and he's like digging deeper. And even when things like the Angelico, Son of Havoc, Ivelisse three-way, when it first started, started, it was kind of uncomfortable because they made Angelico this weird like sleazeball who was sort of like humping her in the match. They edited a lot of that off of TV, but it was just like, oh, guys, this isn't like, you're better than this. And then they turned it into one of the best storylines. So like they are very good, like Alex Riley, of seeing when something isn't working and immediately changing direction.
Yeah. And Dale, how about?
Well,
go ahead.
I was just saying, there's two advantages to Lucha Underground as well, and the fact that they get post-production, like they can edit things because they're so far ahead because they're running it like a TV show, not like a live event. And secondly, they have a season. Like they can go in, write a really good story. Obviously, things can happen like injuries and stuff, and they have to write around it, or things don't work. But they can write stuff that makes sense and tells a really good story because they know exactly how much time they have to fill. Then they can take a break, think about it, and then come back and do a second season or whatever. So I kind of hope that this, it's hard because money's involved, so I don't know if any of the other federations will ever change the way they run business, but I hope that this can be a bit of a more of a standard where you get better entertainment, because that's what this is supposed to be at the end of the day. Better entertainment and better wrestling when you can keep it to a short program and have it thought out and get some editing time in there to change things if they didn't work out.
Well, we're hoping we see season 2 because we know that is not a cheap show to produce, and so we really, really hope that they could find a way to make it happen. El Patron, talk about two guys with incredible chemistry, and this is just the beginning of what's going on because we saw some. It's wow, these guys. El Patron ends up winning with a kick, but God, these guys. You talk about chemistry in a ring and being able to tell a story.
This was also two guys who just had something to prove. Because think 2-3 years ago, these guys on Raw, they'd be given like 5-6 minutes. They're like just labeled as mid-carders. They are just like sort of held down, like given restrictions. Now it's like, okay, we're going to give you guys 15 to 20 minutes. Do whatever you want. And just like, what was it, like 2 or 3 This Is Awesome chants that they were getting? And just an amazing match. And I mean, like, it felt like a fight, which is what I like also. The whole point of wrestling is like, we all know it's like quote unquote not real, but make us believe, just like make us believe for like a little bit. And with this, it's, like Mundo hits his move, Patron grabs the rope, Patron gets the submission, Mundo grabs the rope, and it's just like a fight to the point where Patron's just trying to hit the kick, and eventually he does, and then collapses on top of him and pins him. And like for that like 15 minutes, you can just like suspend your disbelief, and you can be like, these are two superheroes fighting each other, which is the heart and soul of what wrestling should and could be. And it's beautiful now because Patron, now he's got a #1 contendership match next week, or this week I should say, against Hernandez. What is it, the Ultra Mega AAA Championship, which Alberto Hell Patron has. Maybe we'll get like a clash between him and Puma. Maybe Hernandez will face Puma. And that's the other beautiful thing, is I have no idea where they're going. And that's another beautiful thing with WWE and a lot of other like main promotions. You can tell immediately the direction they're heading like several weeks out. Whereas here, I don't know what's going to happen. And this is the one promotion I do not read spoilers for. Like,
no, of course not. I don't read spoilers for anything.
See, I don't have that type of self-control.
Dale, your follow-up thoughts to it. Nat said it pretty eloquently, but any follow-up thoughts to that?
No, I feel like we really champion this Lucha Underground every week, but it deserves it. And if you guys aren't watching it, you need to watch it. We only have it in Spanish here in DC.
Oh, wow.
But I'll be watching it in Spanish.
You should. You'll learn something.
Yeah, I learned a little something. But they also offer some ways to do it online as well. But if you aren't watching it, get behind it, because I've yet to have anyone that we get texts all the time from friends that be like, dude, I finally watched Lucha. You were right, it was amazing. I've yet to have anybody be like, meh.
And then
so definitely check it out.
And then on top of it, as an announcer, I always pay attention to the commentary, and Matt Stryker doesn't get any better. And of course, Vampiro's a legend. So you have those together. Everything about it is just fantastic. We need to get to our...
Go home! That's your home! Are you too good for your home?
Payback preview, y'all. We don't know every single match, so we're just going to run them down real quick, maybe give a prediction or two, and then we'll close out this show. Starting off, we got Macho Mandow and Axelmania.
The Mega Power!
Taking on the Ascension in the pre-show. I think I know which way this is going. Dale?
Yeah, I would have to presume it's the Mega Power.
And I'll even go more specific. Mandow's finally going to hit the elbow that he kept teasing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I disagree, guys. I think this is them giving a shot to the Ascension to go over to maybe do something?
The truth is, everybody needs a win in this scenario. So, I mean, you could definitely be right. I could see it going either way, but I would prefer it to be the guys that I like, not the guys that I don't like whatsoever.
Completely agree. All right, moving on. John Cena versus Rusev in a match for the U.S. title. John Cena, Rusev on Raw, of course. Rusev locks him in the Accolade, attacking him at the end of the match against Neville. So Rusev has the upper hand, but he's not very happy with Lana because people keep cheering. All of a sudden, she's loving America. Nat, what you say?
I mean, Cena. I feel like this whole title, open challenge, has to end with him losing clean to somebody, and then sort of maybe passing the torch. I don't know exactly what, but no, I mean, I love what Cena's doing right now. I don't think I've ever been a bigger Cena supporter in his entire career than right now.
I'm digging it. Dale?
It's nice to see him putting over guys. I've had some people say that, it's like, well, what's the point? Because, he's not going to lose the title. It's like, well, what do you mean, what's the point?
Yeah.
Underdog guys that are, mostly newer to the company. I mean, even Dean Ambrose is still on the newer side, if you think about it, as far as longevity of the older guys on the roster. They get to go out, and John Cena puts on a great match with every single one of them. So, people can say whatever they like, but I think this is the best thing that he's done for the company in a long time. I do think that he will keep the title, but I think it'll relate to Lana. I think we're going to see, something going down. Rusev maybe threatens to break her arm or do something, or I don't know exactly what will go down, but it's going to be something a little scandalous on Rusev's part, and John Cena will quit to save Lana.
Oh, my God, really?
Well, that's something I came up with. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you creative, boy. I like that. But no, you're right. People want to look at things in black and white. Like, oh, Cena doesn't put anyone over. You don't have to lose a match to put someone over. Look at what happened last night against Neville. Neville came out looking amazing, because he always does, number one. But number two, he basically had Cena dead to rights. That's putting someone over. Yep. It's not about wins and losses all the time. So for people to constantly shit on Cena, oh, he never loses a match. No, he's putting every single person over by getting taken to the limit in these matches. And I agree with you. This is the best we've seen him.
Yeah.
Moving on, King Barrett,
Bad news.
taking on Neville, as we just spoke about. Dale, I know this is something that you're going to... wow, this is a match you're going to be really pumped about.
Hey, I mean, this new shot of vitality to Barrett. I mean, I guess he's had a name change even with it, so no more bad news. I don't know.
You got to.
But yeah, I like it. I mean, I kind of hope he continues his momentum. I think Adrian could do well just being in this match, or he could win as well. I mean, maybe he wins, and this is how he justifies going into the IC title bout for the Elimination Chamber, because Wade Barrett can just make his way into that match either way. You know what I mean? As King, I'm sure he can do what he wants to.
That's very good.
But I don't know. I see this being a great match, but I kind of ultimately think that Adrian Neville will win it.
Nat, go.
I'm saying Neville. I'm happy that they're giving Barrett some wins again, because they were putting him on a streak for a while there of just loss after loss after loss. And I mean, he won the King of the Ring 3 straight. He won this past week on Raw. I'm thinking a loss here won't hurt him too much. Neville's on the rise. I mean, he had that great match with Cena. He had the visual pin. I feel like this will be a good lead-in to him that hopefully won't hurt Barrett too much. And then, they can get all those guys in the Elimination Chamber and just bring some prestige back to the IC belt.
Absolutely. So you're going.
I'm going Neville.
Okay. Wow. I don't know, man. He just became King of the Ring. I feel like this is going to be some kind of a no contest.
Yeah, that's probably more likely.
I might be wrong, but I'm thinking some kind of a no contest here. All right, moving on. We have a 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag titles featuring the New Day.
Negativity will not keep us down.
Yeah, taking on Kid and Cesaro. I cannot wait for this match. In my opinion, this might be the best match of the night. Dale, what do you think?
I am shocked shocked they're giving this 2 out of 3. Like, they're going to give this some nice time to really matter, and I couldn't be more ecstatic and happy for the New Day and for Cesaro Kid. It doesn't matter who wins this match, in my opinion. I'm just happy that they are letting these guys who have the ability to shine, they're actually going to let them shine lately, and it's doing me right.
Yeah, this match is going to be awesome. This is probably going to be a match of the night. I'm guessing New Day, just because, like, again, they were dead on arrival when they debuted. It wasn't what anyone wanted to see, and they were just going against the grain every week. And then when they finally just acknowledged the New Day's such chance, literally 1 week to another, they became my favorite act in the company.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
New Day rocks! New Day rocks! New Day rocks!
They're so great. I've never seen Kofi like this great before. Xavier, they're finally like letting him be himself a little bit. Him as the conniving, just like he's so happy. Like he's like Snidely Whiplash. He's so happy to be doing evil.
That's great.
With a smile on his face. And I mean, like, you know, Cesaro Kid can do no wrong. This is gonna be great.
You're right. Cesaro was amazing on Raw. I say New Day. I want them to keep those titles for a long ass time.
And Cesaro is starting to, like, as a babyface. Oh, we've been waiting for this. New Day needs it more, and like they're gonna go further with it. Kid Cesaro, they don't need it. I don't want him to split up, because I'm afraid that on his own, Kid might not do as well. But Cesaro, I think, is like on the verge of this year doing what we thought he could have done last year.
Agreed.
I think, and if they have them continue on as faces, maybe we can get the swing back in a more permanent match item, because that's just always over with the crowd.
Absolutely. So we're going New Day across the board. And finally, the fatal 4-way for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. We got Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose. I mean, I think this is going to be, whereas the tag match I think might be the best wrestling match of the night, this is going to have a lot of, they're going to try to pull out all the stops. I still say Seth Rollins escapes. Dale?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I'm just so pleased that we have, well, all the Shield guys, but especially Dean Ambrose, to finally get him in the title picture. It is well overdue, and I mean, I don't think he's gonna win, unfortunately, but I like Seth as the champ. So it's just nice to have him in the actual main event match.
There you go.
So with the main event, besides just the match itself, we sort of have to look at the story going into it, which is all month been Kane. And, you know, the whole thing is like Triple H saying, well, maybe if Seth doesn't walk out, we don't need you as director of operations anymore. So, again, it's going to be like that whole thing of like, we know the match isn't going to end until Kane gets involved. My prediction is that Seth walks out. Like, you know, he's doing good work. He should keep it. But my specific prediction, and maybe going out on a limb here, is I'm guessing Reigns turns.
What?
I'm going on a limb. I think Reigns turns and replaces Kane as sort of the muscle of the Authority, because he's not. That's what I'm saying. Because like he needs to go heel. He needs to go heel, and this would be a good way to do it.
You had something to say, Dale? Go ahead.
No, that was it.
Okay, just checking.
That's a great idea. I really love that.
Yeah, Gary's tried him. So that's amazing.
So that's what I'm thinking, because I mean, ever since they tried making him the face of the company, it didn't work.
I don't think they're going to give up on that, dude.
They're not. But this is like the right step towards it. I'm not saying they should give up on it. I'm just saying like they need to make him go heel. That's what sort of the fans are like pushing forward. Them sort of like actively ignoring those like larger week by week booing contingent of Reigns. Let them boo him. Do what you did with The Rock. Acknowledge it. Like, you guys didn't like me. I'm gonna know where the power is, the money is, and then like let him be a heel for a while, and then do the Batista thing. Like let people like him, because he's always been better in like the group faction sort of a thing. Yeah. Let people remember why they liked him. Turn face. Turn on everything, and then there you go. You're off to the races with him.
That came out of nowhere, but I liked it.
That's what I'm thinking.
All right, what an amazing show. So much fun, so much good stuff to talk about, and of course, Alex Riley, just always gold. So with that said, Dale, put yourself over, my friend.
You can find me at Payback this Sunday. Hey-o. Make sure to tweet me at The Walking Dale. If you guys are there, I'd love to meet up, hang out, talk shop. And you can also find me on Instagram.
That's right, Nat Baymel.
I will be at the Cleveland Hard Rock June 4th through 7th. So if you guys are in Rock and Roll City, come check me out there.
Boom. Cleveland town, everyone. Cleveland. All right. right, at Wrestling Buds on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, we're one. I just looked on our Facebook page. We are at 1,999 likes. For God's sake, somebody go to our Facebook page and click like so we can celebrate 2,000 likes. Go to facebook.com/wrestlingbuds. I am at Jay Quasto. I just found out I'm going back to Denver, June 25th to 28th. I'll be at Comedy Works downtown with my friend Chris Frangiola. That is arguably the greatest club in the country. I cannot wait to go back. So if you're near Denver, please come out. Otherwise, Pittsburgh Improv this weekend, headlining May 13th, Wednesday, and then I'm with Brad Williams May 14th to 16th. Otherwise, of course, keep watching Championship Wrestling from Hollywood every single week. And other than that, I think that's it. We love you so much, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Dale, any final words over in DC?
No.
That's how we're going out. See you, everybody.